What is going on, my peeps, man? Back. Ooh, rewind. What is going on, my peeps? Man, Versatile is back with another video. Back here to talk about filters, specifically ND filters, specifically variable ND filters, specifically Peter McKinnon variable ND filters, or VNDs, made by PolarPro. Yes, I have two now, and there's a slight difference between the two. Why would you even get a filter in the first place, and what do they simply look like? We're going to talk about that in this video. Now, before we get into the video, if you guys haven't already, make sure you guys ignite the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so that way you never miss my videos, that we can sit back, chillax, and see what's cracking. And let me know down in the comment section below, do you use ND filters? Have you used PolarPros? Do you like Moment's Cine Bloom filters? Let me know down in the comment section below. Now, without further ado, let's get into the video. And yes, as you guys see here on the table, I have a lot going on here, but specifically, I have the new filter made by PolarPro and Peter McKinnon. This is the second edition, but this is the mist filter, 2 to 5 stop, and some improvements was made was you get hard stops. So you guys see here, I can click and then it moves, and then it moves again. So each time it stops and it lets you know where you're at. Now the packaging for this was also much more simple. It was just a nice basic cardboard box that housed the filter, and this is what it looks like right here. This is of course what fits around the filter. This screws on the back once you have it on, like so. So that way, if you wanted to keep this on your lens, you know, to protect the filter and protect your lens while you're on a shoot or something like that, you can do that with this. So this is what works here. Now, the other filter I have that I've had for a while is this right here. This is the first edition Peter McKinnon filter 2 to 5 stop. Now, both of them are 82mm filter threads, and that's because I don't see myself getting anything any larger. And I got a little hair right here. I don't see myself getting anything any larger than 82, and this is usually the go-to because you can always step up to this. And so, case in point, my 35, I have a 55mm to 85 thread, so that way I can make use of my filter. Now that's, I don't know if I should really be stepping up from that far down. Maybe I could have gotten a 55mm thread because there's a couple lenses that I think use that I may look at in the future, but you know, most filter threads nowadays seem to be 62mm and up. And of course, I have a 67mm filter thread on my Sigma 16 and my Sony 85. So I have step-up rings for those to use on those lenses. Now, this is the first edition, as I said before, and this is just a typical variable ND filter. The reason why I went with PolarPro over, you know, Tiffin or K&F even was because of the coating that they used and the quality of PolarPro's filters. You get a lot better look in terms of, you know, not a lot of that X crossing as you rotate and change. You don't get a lot of vignetting with the filter, so you get a much more clean image out of PolarPro. Now, because of that, you're also paying a much more pretty penny. Now, looking at these two, they don't really, you see an ever so slight difference right now. Granted, this one's at 5 stops, so once I do this, you'll be able to see a lot better from that perspective. But there's not too much of a difference. The coating might be a little bit darker on the mist filter, but you're paying $250 for the filter. And that's for the 2 to 5 stops because you're getting multiple stops. Build quality, they do a lot of good job with this knurled edging in terms of the grip, being able to grip it a lot better. You can also use, you know, focus pullers to pull your filter as opposed to your focus if you want to, and it's kind of easier to do with these filters. And again, the actual visual quality of these filters is nearly unmatched. Now, of course, you'll give some of that up if you're going to go with the Moment and Cine Bloom lenses. Now, what I've seen from those lenses, they're actually pretty, those filters, they're actually pretty good in terms of quality and what you get to see. So those are pretty solid, and I think those run like anywhere, I think they start off at like $69 or $79. So why would you use a filter? Well, they're sunglasses for your lens, and when you're in bright conditions like shooting outside, oftentimes it's too bright for your camera to be able to adjust to, because with video you're trying to apply, if not shutter roll, you're trying to apply the 360-degree rule, or 180-degree rule rather, which is basically, you know, natural motion blur. And so in order to adjust for outside conditions, you'll have to raise your shutter speed to clock down, or basically, you know, control those highlights, control the exposure a lot more. But you can't really do that with video. So in order to maintain the look that you're going for, unless you're doing action, if you're doing action, then maybe you won't have to use it. And then even then, if you did, you can always use your ISO to bump back up to, you know, retain visual quality. But the reason why you would get a filter nonetheless, and an ND filter at that, is you can control how many stops you need to close down, or in other words, block out that light when you're shooting in harsh conditions. And some filters give you different special effects or visual effects, right? So with the mist filter, this blooms highlights. Now it's not as dramatic as the cine bloom lens filters, but you still get a different approach to the light when using the mist filter. Now the regular ND filter, which is this one, just gives you a really good clean look outside, and you really won't get a lot in terms of manipulating the light that's within the frame. So hopefully you can tell with this light. I might even brighten it here so that way you can kind of see the difference, because I'm gonna apply it to this lens in a second. So let me see if I can get that. So as you see, it's pretty bright back here, right? So if I put this on, all this does is go into, and I have it on 2, I'm gonna screw this on. This is the regular one. So I have it on. So as you see, it got a little darker in here, of course, right? Because it's applying, it's at 2 stops right now. But you'll probably see that the light didn't really change. It just got darker in here. So I'm not gonna make any adjustments for that, but you can see that immediately lights kind of got shut down because of the filter. This even works indoors, of course. You just have to control your ISO or your aperture at that point. But it looks clean. It still looks clean for the most part. You don't get a lot of color shifting with PolarPro's ND filters. So now, taking this one off, now I'm going to apply the the mist filter, and you're gonna see a little bit more softness or blooming. I wouldn't say haziness, because I don't have a lot of haze or smoke. I don't have any of that in here. But you will see that the light should change a little bit, and or maybe even the light on my face, you'll see there'll be a subtle difference in interpretation. Now, making sure. All right, so 2 stops here. Now you get to see the light is a little bit different in terms of how the mist is adding. It's got these little misty, you know, elements on the filter to help bloom and I won't say distort, but manipulate the light a little bit different. So you get a softer image overall with the mist filter. And when you think about cinema, when you think about a lot of videos or movies, even music videos for that matter, you see a lot of the light blooming. You see a lot of the light being, you know, just manipulated from that perspective. And then when you add smoke or haze with a filter like this, it really helps accentuate, it really helps dramatize that look even more. And so that's what you can get with a mist filter. Or if you want a stronger effect, I definitely recommend the Moments Cine Bloom filters. I haven't got to try them, but I've seen them enough to know the difference. And those come in different like percentage. So like I think 10, 20, 30% or something like that, 5, 10, 20, something like that. You get, you know, you get different levels of bloominess with the Cine Bloom lenses. But with the PolarPros, to not sacrifice quality, you get more of a subtle approach with PolarPro's mist filter, and I think that's what I wanted overall. So even though I do have the first edition 82mm you know, filter, do I have to use this one as often now that I have this one? Probably not. But let's say I have 2 lenses that I need to use on a shoot, and you know, it's gonna all outside. Well, guess what? I have 2 that I can use. One's gonna have a bit, you know, a softer approach, but it's not going to be so much of a difference between the 2 that, you know, you're really gonna be like, you know what? Why does this one look this way and this one looks that way? even when you apply the Cine Bloom, you may not, necessarily see the overall difference. And then again, it's depending on how you have your camera set up or where you have them stationed to get specific looks where you may not notice a difference at all. So I did want to show you guys this in terms of one of the new things I got. You guys have probably already seen my camera gear accessories for 2021, or my new gear that I've gotten put together a new or updated my Sony a7 III rig. So, and this is one of the new features, which is that that mist filter from PolarPro, the Peter McKinnon variable ND 2-to-5 stop. That is, it's a lot to say. So let me know down in the comment section below if you guys notice a difference, if you guys seen the difference, have you used any type of mist filters, Cine Bloom filters, PolarPro filters, Peter McKinnon's. Let me know down in the comment section below. Enough rambling for me. Again, as always, if you guys haven't already, make sure you guys ignite the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so that way you never miss my videos. Then we can sit back so I can see what's cracking. Your man Versatile signing out, and until the next video. And I left my filter on. Wait for